problems. That guy, he just has to touch you once.
Shit's going down.
He's so different than anybody else in the division. Like, he knocks everybody out. Everybody hits hard. They all hit hard.
But he pushed down.
Dude hits hard.
Robert, oh, sorry, when you're done.
Yeah, so them ones with the A, Robert. Okay.
Yeah.
We send it.
Answer. Anthony Joshua is Olympic champion. First. Jack Paul, it's, sportsman, YouTuber, showman. Rolls-Royce, Fiat.
Joe Rogan has never shied away from strong opinions. And his recent reaction to Anthony Joshua sparring Oleksandr Usyk ahead of Jake Paul's fight has stunned the combat sports world. On his podcast, Rogan broke down the unusual dynamic, questioning why two elite heavyweight champions would take part in preparation, tied to a spectacle-focused bout involving Paul. Blending skepticism with admiration and his signature blunt take. Joe Rogan has sparked major discussion. Among fans, many are now questioning what this unexpected training connection could signal not only for Jake Paul, but for the broader future of boxing itself.
Not a chance that Anthony Joshua is not going to just lose the weight beforehand. He's not going to come in drained. What he's going to do is just do extra cardio, and that's just going to make him more dangerous. He's going to be terrifying, and he's going to have a lot to prove. He's going to be very angry.
Instead of training in the UK with his usual team under Ben Davidson, Anthony Joshua confirmed at a recent press conference that he would work alongside members of Oleksandr Usyk's camp as part of his build-up to the December 19 fight in Miami. Joshua called the experience both phenomenal and demanding, praising the quality and success of Usyk's team while clarifying that Usyk himself was not sparring him on a daily basis.
Find the belief in yourself, not in somebody else's system. You know what I mean? It's like Usyk's team might show him bits and bats of stuff. He doesn't box like Usyk. Can they train AJ to be similar to what Usyk's doing? AJ, you've got to pick out the best of what AJ does, and you've got to pick out the worst and improve the worst in him. And I'll say it time and time again. For me, the best trainer he ever had was Robert McCracken. It might not be what people want to hear, but he had him from the stages in the amateurs, from being a young mind, brought him through, guided. He had a good view of what the competition was out there, where to put him, you know, where to manoeuvre him, when to take fights, when not to take fights. And he'd invested a lot of time in him, Robert McCracken. So it was the payoff. Now when you go to, you know, if AJ came here or he goes to Ben Davidson, or you're going to be in for a big payday as a trainer. It's a lot of responsibility to take on. You know, Ben Davis is a good trainer. He's trained AJ for so many fights, brought him back. He'll have got paid handsomely. Everybody wants to train AJ because it's a good payday. So, but sometimes you have to think to yourself, are you capable of training that fighter? You know, people have come to me wanting me to train. I said, to be honest, we're not going to match. You know, what I want to do and what I want you to do is not going to work. So I just think AJ is looking for that secret ingredient.
Training alongside experienced members of Oleksandr Usyk's camp, Anthony Joshua is sharpening both his offensive and defensive arsenal. Observers note his relentless focus on progress, from improving footwork and timing to refining combinations. His approach remains disciplined yet adaptable, allowing him to test techniques in a controlled setting. The camp provides high-level sparring that mirrors real fight conditions, keeping Joshua sharp and engaged. As fight night approaches, each session becomes increasingly critical, reinforcing his belief that detailed preparation and tactical growth are vital for success in boxing.
You know, Simon, I think he's at that stage of his career where he's trying to rediscover a little bit of that confidence. He's gone to Oleksandr Usyk, where we're hearing reports he's out there training with Usyk and the team, trying to pick up something, trying to rediscover something.
That's very strange, Paul, isn't it? It is, but it's not unheard of. I've heard of a lot of fighters doing that. You see fighters, obviously, it's the old Rocky movies years ago, but you see a fighter losing to someone, all of a sudden they go in the camp and they start training and do a little bits together and become friends or whatever else. I think it'll do Joshua no harm travelling, but as you say, he's a little bit long in the tooth and he's a bit on the back nine rather than the front nine, where that experience would really come into play. But I'm just looking at his record here. He obviously, after the Usyk fight, he's come back and he had 3 fights and then the Ngannou demolition job.
Well, yeah, Jermaine Franklin, he had Robert Helenius, he had Otto Wallin, and he smashed Ngannou, which everyone went hallelujah for, right?
Yeah, but he's obviously not in like the box rec rankings to see where he is. But the Dubois fight is a fight where, what you've just said then, Spencer, like, match him right. I felt he was match right with Dubois. That's just my opinion.
Just
obviously, I was wrong on that and I was proved wrong, but I felt like Joshua would have and should have came through that, but he obviously didn't. So therefore, it's back to the drawing board, and where do you go from there? What do you do from there? Does he keep the same team around him? Does he go and find someone new and try and adapt and add to his repertoire already? And this move at Usyk, I don't know what it'll be, but if he's fighting before Christmas, then he needs to get in shape quick, because there's only 8 weeks to go, let's say.
Well, my understanding, he's in camp, he's in shape, and just looking to getting out and get back to winning ways is my understanding. That's why they're talking about 8-rounders.
Yeah.
He wants to sort of go under the radar a little bit, and it's difficult for someone like Anthony Joshua because he's such
Very
a
much so.
commercial commodity.
He's always been in shape all the time, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He always will be in shape. He's never, ever not been...
But it's not about his physical shape, is it? No one's ever questioned his physical state. Zach, when I was talking about Anthony Joshua, and I know that the president of his fan club is here in Spencer, but I talked about the PTSD issue post various fights, whether it be the Oleksandr Usyk or the Daniel Dubois situation. But prior to Daniel Dubois, I always maintained that I felt that despite the performance against Jermaine Franklin, despite the performance against Robert Helenius, which had been blasted out by Deontay Wilder, and
Although Anthony Joshua isn't sparring regularly with Oleksandr Usyk, he has fully immersed himself in the Ukrainian champion's training environment. Joshua is working with elite coaches who help shape Usyk into a 2-time undisputed champion. Gaining insight into their high-level boxing system, he says the experience offers valuable perspective from someone who has achieved so much, calling it an important step in fine-tuning his approach for Jake Paul's unconventional style.
Going to that camp just for Jake Paul, because he could have gone to fucking my camp to beat Jake Paul.
AJ's been in camp with Usyk.
Taking it seriously for it to get fucked off at the final minute.
What better camp to go join than the master himself?
What he's doing is he knows that he's got, 1, maybe 2 years left, maybe 2 years. So he's gone to the Usyk camp. There's motivation behind that, you know what I mean?
Yes.
You're not going to that camp just for Jake Paul, because he could have gone to fucking my camp to beat Jake Paul. But he's going to that camp for the future of next year, where he could be fighting Dubois, could be...
McGregor has offered a blunt and cautious take on the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua matchup, warning that the fight is extremely dangerous and perhaps shouldn't happen at all. He describes Joshua as a powerful heavyweight with the depth and experience of a former world champion, emphasizing the risks Paul would face. While McGregor questions whether the crossover bout makes sporting sense, he adds that he would still respect Paul for fully committing to such a serious challenge.
He get knocked out by AJ though, isn't he?
If he makes that walk, you've got to give him his respect for that. It's very dangerous, you know. It seems like Netflix are all over him. It's a dangerous sport, and you can't overlook that. Joshua's a big boy and a powerhouse. I've sat ringside and watched Joshua. That's a heavy punching man, and he's a happy and he's a good kid. He has an anger in him. He has a darkness in him, does Anthony Joshua. I don't think a lot of people suss that. So, the fight shouldn't go ahead. In my opinion, the fight shouldn't go ahead. If he does it...
Dana White delivered a sharp critique of the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul bout. It's calling it a clear mismatch that threatens the integrity of professional boxing, never avoiding controversy. White questioned the legitimacy of pairing a former heavyweight world champion like Anthony Joshua with a YouTube star turned boxer. His comments sparked intense debate online, with fans split on whether the fight is smart promotion or pure spectacle. White argued that while celebrity bouts may boost pay-per-view sales, they risk prioritizing fame over skill and turning boxing into entertainment rather than true competition.
around him that will be saying to him, mate, Anthony hasn't boxed for a year and a half. Mate, Anthony got dropped in his last fight. Anthony's head's all over the place. He's gone. So listen, fair fucking play. If he steps up and fights AJ, I will be the first to hold my hands up and go, fair fucking play. He'd have to be crazy to do it. He would have to be crazy to do it. Jake Paul's never really fought anyone major, like, you know, when's he going to step up and fight a real fighter? I mean, this would definitely be one way to kill that narrative, but it would be a dangerous one. If we're offered it, and the money that I know is inevitable in a fight like that, it would be very difficult for us to turn it down. And I know some people will find a reason to not like it and moan, but I'm just going to give it to you straight always. We were going to have a run out this year in an 8-rounder against someone in the top, I don't know, 120 on BoxRec that you've never heard of. We could have a run out against Jake Paul, end him in boxing forever, get rid of this whole little silly thing, and make about 50 or 60x in the process. How can you turn it down? So if it's real, there is a chance. Jake's won fights that I didn't think he'd win. And Jake has got a lot better over the last couple of years. He ain't in Anthony Joshua's league, that's for sure. The only way this fight happens, if it's a fight, it's a sanctioned fight. I mean, ultimately, it's a cruiserweight stepping up to fight a heavyweight. I mean, previously, what did you have? You had a lightweight fighting a cruiserweight, but that was an exhibition. This is no exhibition. This is the 10-ounce big boys, and this is a real fight. We've already really got our plans with Turki Al-Sheikh for 2026, which is ultimately to fight Tyson Fury, but also to have another fight in February. We got the phone call to say, look, obviously Gervonta's out. Would you be interested in December? And the only other options we had for December was to do an 8-rounder on a card somewhere, which I didn't even know was going to happen. So I said to Nikisa, if you're truthful about this, which he assures me Jake is, then it could happen. So let's live in the real world, yeah? And let's just, everybody stay calm and make logical business decisions. What would you do, right? And please don't give me the, yes, but you have to think about the legacy here. You can't eat legacy, and legacy is so important. By the way, he's an Olympic gold medalist, a 2-time world heavyweight champion. The legacy's okay. I wouldn't let him not take this fight. I would push him in the ring to take this fight. So if you want to blame someone, blame me. Just relax. One, I don't even know if it's going to happen. Two, if it does, just relax. Enjoy us going in there for boxing and sticking one on his chin. We'll go back, we'll fight Tyson Fury, etc. So just relax. But how can you say no?